Deficit levy, debt tax, or just a plain, simple, old-fashioned increase in personal income tax? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It doesn't really matter what you call it. It is an increase in tax. The two key things to understand about this debt tax, deficit levy that we're going to get in the budget just over a week, is that it is going to happen, despite the suggestions there was a backbench revolt, indeed that ministers were unhappy at the idea. It is going to be in the budget. It's locked in. Secondly, critically, it's going to be a temporary increase. It will have a sunset clause to terminate it after 4 years. This is not just a promise. This is not just a Paul Keating-style LAW law promise, trust us, we will remove it. It will be locked in up front. You don't get the tax unless you get the sunset clause that goes with it. They will be twined. So it goes after 4 years. It only hits people over $88,000 of income and pretty much doesn't really hit somebody at $88,000 because it only starts at that point. What we're seeing is that an increase in the top two marginal rates. The 37-cent rate goes to 38 cents and the 45-cent rate goes to 47 cents. Add on the Medicare levy and you're getting up pretty close to 50 cents for that top tax rate. Broadly, that should be unacceptable. It would certainly be unacceptable if it was going to be a permanent feature of our tax system, because apart from everything else, you get that very margin split between the top personal tax rate and the corporate tax rate, and we know where that goes. That leads to tax avoidance and corporatisation to try and cut your rates. So it's in some senses symbolic. It's to demonstrate, the government wants to demonstrate that all the pain is not only going to fall on people receiving government benefits, receiving some sort of payment out of Canberra, it will also require higher income earners to make some temporary contribution. The more sober reality about all this, of course, is that it sort of provides a bridge to when good old-fashioned bracket creep will take over and really start ripping money into Canberra. Go out 4 or 5 years and bracket creep will be taking probably another $15 billion a year of secret income tax increase. And then you start the week with the deficit levy. Joe Hockey ended the week with the Audit Commission report. This was the report, I would suggest, from a political hell, because quite clearly there's no way in the world that the government is going to implement most of these proposed changes. That would require courage far and beyond the call of duty for Joe Hockey or the Cabinet more broadly, or the Prime Minister to embrace them. Clearly we're going to get some change, some recommendations are going to be implemented, but we pretty much know what they will be now. There'll be a Medicare co-payment of $6 a week, not the $15 a week proposed by the Audit Commission. We'll also see some changes, significant cuts to the family tax benefit B, maybe even its complete abolition. And we're going to get that long-term increase in the pension age. But beyond that, pretty much the rest is going to go back on the shelf and await some glorious future when a government can be purer. There's no way in the world that this government could go to the next election proposing most of the things that Commission is recommending. In contrast to all the sort of flurry out of Canberra, we had a pretty quiet week on the markets. They jumped around a bit, but by the end of the week, the share market was down only around 1 to 1.5% over the week. Interestingly, the four big banks started to wobble a bit after their spectacular increase in share prices over the last couple of years. The standout performer amongst the banks was, of course, Macquarie, which came up with its results Friday and showed that once again the Millionaires Factory is printing money for its employees, for its staff. They all share in a very handsome take, but also for shareholders. And its share price was up 4% over the week, in contrast to the four big banks, with Westpac and NAB under some pressure, dropping about 3% over the week. And the A dollar was steady over the week after jumping around a bit. Which leads us to next week. The Reserve Bank May meeting. Obviously, there's going to be no change in interest rates. There's going to be no change in interest rates out of the Reserve Bank for the next 3 months at least. The only way you'd get a change is if we had a global financial meltdown, and then they might they would certainly cut rates as they did with the GFC. But absent that sort of meltdown scenario, you're going to see no change in rates over the next 3 months, and quite probably over the next 3 months after that, which will depend on the next set of inflation figures.